Sonny, you know what we were like on R2C2, and I have to say, see, we can't give out like number one R2C2 guest of all time because then we really box ourselves in, right? We can only use it with one person, but we can give like a top 3 to like 7 or 8 different people, and Sonny Gray is definitely a top 3 all-time R2C2 guest.
Absolutely. He's been here for some of the most memorable pods that we've had. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been like our most viewed pods.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. That's big. Just made my day.
Dude, I mean, it really are. If you look at it, because Sonny, when you told us about your, singing and dancing career as a youngster, that pod was immensely popular. And in spring training in Arizona, the one we did with you and Trevor Bauer was that was our most viewed YouTube of our pod ever. It was that was huge. I think we got into a lot of Astro stuff with that one.
Yeah,
so,
I think so.
Yeah, we might have to just bring that back for the views,
we like to come on here and get real controversial.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we like, man. Sonny, how is life, man?
Life's good. Just raising these kids. We got about 4 or 5 inches of snow in Tennessee last week, and that was like shut the city down, shut the world down. Here we go, we're stuck. So that was fun to play in for a while. Kids went back to school. Gunnar and Declan went back to school today, so they were off for probably like 3 weeks. So today was the first day where you get some type of like normalcy. So that was nice to just have them out of the house for just a minute. But everything's good. Everything's good over here.
How old are they now, Sonny?
Gunnar's 6, turned 7 in January, and Declan, he turned 3 in September. So they're getting there.
Is Gunnar playing sports yet? Is it T-ball?
He played baseball. He wants to play football so bad. I'm just like, I want you to play. I want you to play, but like I need to be. I feel like I need to be home for it because if you're not, like, let me just be home for football. Let's just start football when you're like 9 or 10. Like we'll do that. But I want him to play. He's like, I was like, Dad, can I play flag? I was like, no, you ain't playing flag football.
I was just about to say, let him play flag.
For me, no, bro. For me, like if you're gonna play football, you're gonna put a helmet on, you're gonna put your shoulder pads on, you're gonna go out there and do it. But he just finished hockey, so he played hockey because that was like a winter thing. We were here for it, and then I signed him. He's doing hockey again into January, so he loves it. If anything, he can ice skate.
So how intense are you like as a dad at these sporting events? Are you like going crazy or are you like sitting in the corner not saying much?
I try so hard to like kind of do a little bit of both, but he's so funny because he's so much like me because so the first week of hockey, I'm driving him to hockey and I'm just driving him and I'm just like, I'm just picking him up from school and we're just like, doing his thing. We're just talking, whatever. And then we get out and we go in and it's kind of a quick turnaround. And he's just kind of like sluggish and doing his thing. And I'm like, so I asked my wife, I was like, how did you get him ready for baseball? Because when I'm gone, he played baseball and she did everything. She's great at it. I said, how did you get him ready for baseball? She's like, you got to like get him in the zone. Like you got to lock him in. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, he likes his music. He likes to like get pumped up for the game. So here I go. I'm picking a first grader up from elementary school. And we're driving at 4:30 on a Monday afternoon and just jamming Industry Baby. That's his song, bro. That is his favorite. We're jamming Industry Baby through the roads to the thing. And he's like, I told you long ago. And I'm like, here you go. And he goes out there and he's just like checking kids into the board. And I'm just like, oh my God, that is my kid right there. But
that is amazing.
I love it.
What's it like when your kid first starts like knowing the words to a song? Because like I'm an experience. I don't know what age does that happen, and what's that like when you first are like, oh, they're singing along, or like, oh, they know this song.
They're paying attention.
Yeah.
Declan's 3 and he's doing it. So we try to get him on some songs like "Wash Your Hands" and like "Be Nice" and "Don't Hit People" and do that. But he's 3 and he's doing his thing. So
It's earlier than you think.
3.
Yeah, it's early. Yeah, it's pretty early that they pick up on shit. They be in that car seat back there, bobbing their head to the same shit you bobbing your head to.
I know.
Wait, Sonny, what is the song that goes, wash your hands, don't hit, and be nice? What is that song?
It's like a song. It's like a song. It's like, wah, 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 wash your hands. So I'm like, I'm in there at nighttime, or I'm in there or whatever. I'm just like, all right, Jacqueline, you ready? Wah, 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 wash your hands. It's a very natural thing. It's Bobby Bones. He came out with some like kid album, and it's just like, we try to, I don't know. We think we're doing the right thing, so we'll see what happens.
Whatever you got to do.
Right?
Whatever you got to do.
Man.
I'm already experiencing where, like, just having, certain toys or devices, whatever they are, like play mats that have certain, musical elements, and they're on a lot, right? And those things getting stuck in your head, like as a parent, right? You get Baby Shark is the one that comes to mind from recent years, right? But like, there's this, my daughter Everly has a play mat, and it's just like, it's always stuck in my head because like the animals play all day. So that's like a thing for me and my wife. Just hey, are the animals still playing? They're still playing.
Yeah, they're still playing.
The best thing you can do is embrace all of this shit and like get into cartoons, get into Disney movies, and like just enjoy it because
relive it.
Yeah, because that's the only thing. I mean, that's what you're about to do. And if you're gonna be miserable, I mean, it's gonna suck the whole time.
Yeah.
So you gotta get back into that mode.
Hey, he sound like he's speaking with experience right there.
Yeah, man.
And speaking with experience and being a nerd that loves all that stuff, like I love it. Like I go to Disney and all that stuff with my kids, and
man.
Being able to experience that stuff is still fun.
Well, it's right up my alley. Like you tell me, oh, you're gonna have to watch Disney and cartoon stuff. I'm like, yes, please. Perfect. This is exactly what I signed up for. Sonny, what has been, if you were going to describe like the Cincinnati experience, what would be the first things that come to mind about the Cincinnati experience, if that's a thing?
The first thing would be like family. It feels like a very family-oriented organization as far as like from bottom to top. It's like it's similar people are all in the family. And then for me, like being close to family, having my family be able to come back and forth a lot easier than going to Oakland or going to New York. It's like a 3.5-4 hour drive or a short flight. So,
oh wow, that's quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to go back and forth like that for them. It was cool coming in to a team that was, I mean, they were horrible. Let's be honest. Like they were real bad.
Mm-hmm.
They were real bad. And then now working your way up, making the playoffs in that short 2020, and then being close last year, and then kind of like being in the mix was fun for the fans for a while, and for a lot of the guys. They haven't really had that experience. So like being in it, but but also like we've been a little short. We hadn't kind of like taken the next step and actually like gone and played, or even for that matter, won a playoff game. So those come to mind. They really tried, and they really went for it. And we'll see what happens this year. I'm not, who knows, but those are the first couple of things that come to mind. It's also a cool place for me to kind of like go and clear my head and go and just jumpstart and the second half or whatever you call it of my career, which has been fun to do as well. Reuniting with DJ and everybody and like basically like we were talking about with kids. Like for me, it was like getting back to the basics of baseball, getting back to the basics of pitching, like getting like the most simple things you can think of, and that's kind of where I was at. Like DJ's big saying, the first thing we got there is like everything you learned, everything you learned about baseball as a kid is something that you use now. You know everything you need to know about baseball. You learned it as if you were a kid. Now just go out there and do it. So being with him was it's been really special for me too.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first thing when Ryan asked that question, I just thought like quietness. You know what I'm saying? Like not all of the extra thoughts and all of the outside things that can come with, being in New York and being able to go to a place like Cincinnati where it is a baseball town if the team is in it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's a real comfortable place to be. Like you said, your family's close and, it's just, it can be a very comfortable place to play.
Baseball is probably a good word. Like, what's one thing? Just baseball. Like, because I've been there and I've lived it for 3 years now, I guess, and it ain't.
That's all you locked in on.
That's all you got, bro. That's all you got. Like, you ain't got nothing else. So, yeah, baseball. It's just like everything you do is revolving around baseball, which is good for me.
Yeah.
So, Sonny, you said you needed like a reset of sorts, going back to basics. When you think back of it, because now you're removed from the Yankee experience.
Yeah.
You've had success in the aftermath of it. When you think back to where you were, kind of emotionally, confidence wise, where were you at the end of your Yankee tenure when you get traded to Cincinnati? What space were you in at that moment?
Man, just there were so many other factors going in. Like you when you going into it, then going and like focusing on being able to make one pitch, being able to. There were so many other things going through. Like when you're out there on the mound, it's almost like a whirlwind. It's almost just kind of like everything starts going. It's like a snowball going down a hill, and it just goes and goes and it grows and it grows. And by the time like you step away from it, you're just free fall down this hill until you can actually take a step back and be like, oh, so that's kind of was. It was probably just a big snowball rolling, and it wasn't a way to stop it for me. Until getting out of there. Going in there, I didn't really know what to expect. And then leaving, I didn't really know what happened, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, whoa, what just happened? But I have always said, like, once going through that experience, I love the experience. And I think I've said this on this podcast before. It's like, I loved going through all of it because it made me a better man, better husband, better father, but it also made me a better baseball player because now I got to learn from those experiences and say, like, when things start to feel the same, take a step back, remember the experiences that you went through and fix it before it gets out of hand. And I actually had to do that last year in Cincinnati because I don't know if you can look, whoever, you can look it up or whatever. I went through a 4 or 5 game span last year. Like I was doing great. I was killing it. I was doing awesome, whatever. And then I went through like a 4 or 5 game span where like I was dog shit, like giving up 7 runs and 2 wins. Like it was just horrible. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. But what happened was I actually like remembered the experiences I went through, and I got some people that I was close with from Cincinnati and close, and I actually just broke down, and and had like a big breakdown. I was like, I can't get out of my own head. What is going on? Like, and we just kind of like, and I just threw everything out there, got everything out, and then slowly started to rebuild again. And it was kind of like, this isn't me. This isn't what's going on. I know how to, something that I wish I probably would have done earlier, maybe in New York. I was like, I'm not going to do it again. So I'm going to fix this, but I ain't going to be able to do it myself. So I threw everything out and then slowly started rebuilding. And I think I went on another very long run and into the season well and continued to do well. So it was kind of like, so just experiences. And I think that was what I was proud of, is learning from those experiences and then being able to take them with me in my life after that. But I don't know, I've always said, like, I do want to, before my baseball career is over, I really want to go to a big market again and do it. Prove not to necessarily prove to myself, or just to like have the understanding of like, okay, it's no different. If you just focus on baseball, everything else will be fine. Like, go and just do you. Just make one pitch. Just do the things that you've always done, and then don't worry about everything else. So maybe one day we'll see what happens.
Man, and you said a lot right there, but what's crazy is that when you were here in New York too, you were trying to figure out all the information, like everything that we was getting with the analytics and the spin rate. And you know what I'm saying? I just remember you sitting at your locker, you was like, dude, I have to figure this shit out. Like, it was like you were really, so it was at the beginning of that too. Like we here in New York, there's all this shit going on, and then you trying to learn all this information during the season on the fly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To understand why somebody wants you to Sonny's the type of person you can't just tell him to do something. He needs a reason why you're telling him to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so if you're just telling him to throw one pitch over and over and over, well, I need to understand why the fuck you telling me that. So him trying to retain all that information and all of that stuff while trying to pitch and get outs, I can see it was overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? So we never talked about pitching. We never talked about baseball. I always sat on the bench next to him and just tried to learn about his life. And that's how we got so close because, learning about, the stuff you went through in high school and all of that stuff. I wanted to get you away from baseball because it was just overloading you. It was crazy, man. To watch you trying to figure all of that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a good, it's a hard time, but it was a going through it. It's a rewarding time. And that is me and C got to be so close because we would always talk about family and we would always talk about experiences, personal experiences, what you do, what life situations. And it was, without him, when I was there, then there ain't no telling what would have happened with me. I was spinning on the baseball side, but he kept me grounded and he kept me very focused on the life situation, the real world and real life situations. But yeah, with the baseball, I was processing so much. I was trying to process so much. Whereas going back to Cincinnati is what it was making it as simple as possible was what ended up honing me a little bit back in, and then being able to, keep it very simple, and then build a snowball up that way in a good direction rather than I'm working on this problem and then I'm working on this problem, then I'm working, but why, and then it just keeps going, and I'm moving on to the next one before I figure the first thing out, and then it was it worked better for simple and then add. So, but like I said, you learn from everything, and that was cool for me.
Do you think, Sonny, if you would have stayed in New York, do you think you could have gotten to the place you are now mentally with it, where you're like, hey, I have the tools, I feel like I know how to navigate this? Or do you think you needed it to end the way it ended, go someplace else to build yourself back up to where you feel like now, you know what? I want, what you just said before was really interesting. You want another shot at a big market at some point. Did you need it to end the way it ended in New York and then find respite someplace else in order to feel that way? Or do you think you would have eventually gotten there?
Good question. And I don't know if I have an answer. I don't know if there would have been an aha moment where I'm kind of I don't know. I don't know.
No, he would have got there. It would have probably been the same time period. But if you're in a situation where if he was signed to a long-term contract and he was here, he would have had to figure it out. You're going to figure it out, guys. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to probably after that year, because the first half of that year I got traded, the first half was fine. Mm-hmm. I wasn't it wasn't great, but I did fine. I did fine. And then the next half I came to spring training, was doing great and was feeling very, and then it slowly started going. So I think maybe in that off season, you probably start asking some questions, and it depends. I guess it would have depended. You probably start figuring out okay, is this I'm not going to do that again. Mm-hmm. So when you go through your process, what went wrong? What can I change? What can I do different? So yeah, what's these I don't think I'm the type of person that's going to sit on it and if I'm there for another year, if I was there for another year, I don't think I'm just going to sit there and do the same thing over and over. I learned that at Vanderbilt, and that's something that we always would talk about. What's the definition of insanity? Is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So, that's a very common thing, but it's very true. So, I think eventually we'll figure it out.
I think I'm about to say something that might catch some headlines or something like that. But
whoa.
No, seriously, listen. I think it would have sped up the process of them making the pitching coach change if Sonny had to stayed there. Because somebody would have had to explain to him, why the fuck y'all want me to keep throwing the same pitches over and over? You know what I'm saying? And the pitching coach there didn't really have the answers for that. It was kind of coming from upstairs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it would have sped up that process of us getting to somebody like Matt Blake as a pitching coach, as opposed to having Larry for so long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I actually talked to Larry. He was in San Diego, and then we went out and had a comment. And I taught him. I called him. I made sure I stopped him in the outfield. He was passing to the bullpen, and I was passing to the bullpen. And I ran up and I gave him this and gave him a hug. And you could tell there were some things on his head that he was kind of like. And he asked me some questions, and I was like, Larry, whatever happened, it happened, and we gave each other this and gave each other a hug, and I was like, the past is the past. We move on, and can't dwell on anything. So we gave each other some, and we kind of were able to clear that out, and it felt nice. I think probably for both ends of it, but I do think you're right. Probably it would have pushed, because you know me, you saw me there. I'm not one to just sit on. I'm going, and I'm like, listen. I'm not just going to sit and sit back and do. I want answers. I'm going to ask questions. So if you can't answer the questions that I'm asking when you're telling me to do something, I just need that for because that's kind of how it works. So yeah, I think you probably are right. But I went to Cincinnati and learned it, and then was there with Trevor, and I was there in Trevor in 2000. He got traded over in maybe 19, and then 20 he won the Cy Young. And then in 21, Wade Miley had his resurgent year, and we were close, and we were kind of doing that thing. So it was nice to once you started staying. And then Cincinnati had some of the dominant pitching staffs in the league for the last 3 years. So it's been it's been cool to be a part of that too, because like I said, I go in there and ask all the questions, and then we just process the information, and it was neat.
Sonny, what is it like to the point of what C's bringing up? And C, you experienced this at the end of your career too, so it's for both of you. What is it like as a pitcher to have anybody, I'll say outside the pitching coach, but maybe it could even include the pitching coach, kind of trying to dictate pitch selection to you, especially if they're presenting it to you in a certain way, right? Because just from my perspective, one of the things that always frustrated me when I would hear certain things opponents only hit this against your slider. It's well, yeah, but if I throw it 100% of the time, it's going to be different than that, right? Part of the reason it's what it is because of the way it's being set up, the counts I'm using it, right? And if I just overload on it, well, then, all of a sudden it's not going to be as effective. I think at one point we saw that a little bit with Dellin out of the bullpen, right? His
breaking ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And his breaking ball's filthy, except for if that's all you throw,
right.
Now all of a sudden, and then, you have to throw the fastball you haven't used in a while. You can't locate it, whatever. It becomes a snowball.
That was a big thing. You couldn't locate it.
Couldn't locate it either.
Yeah. So that's my thing. Is if you take it in a box, it means one thing, but in the totality of the picture, it means something else. It's something David Cohen talks about all the time, with kind of having too narrow of a focus on, one pitch's effectiveness, understanding how they play off each other. But so I'm just wondering, for you guys, you have someone tell you, hey, this pitch is this effective, you need to use it more. Did that happen in your careers? How do you handle that?
For me, they love my backdoor slider, but they never told me to throw it over and over and over. They understood that my backdoor slider was good because of my cutter. You know what I'm saying? So nobody ever really tried to tell me, what to throw. Maybe because I was already set my ways and I was old and they knew I wasn't going to change. I never really had. You
talking about your backdoor slider to righties, right? And then the cutter up and in. That's why it was effective because So he's saying it was effective because he threw the ball inside on the righty so many times. So he threw the ball. So then anything that started away, they just especially his slider moves. It was moving 19 inches. So it was kind of when they see anything away, then the hitter's natural reaction is to just take.
They're gonna give
up. they give up on it and then it comes back for a strike. But he's saying the reason that it was effective is because he threw so many balls in. So if you're a right-handed hitter, you're looking for the ball in. Something that starts that far. It starts in the other batters. And they're like, no way, that's a strike. And then it comes back. So like they play off of each other. And that's how a pitch will play off of each other.
Yeah. What?
And he was a master. I mean, he was a master at that. But you learn that. Like that
I learned that from
after
Andy.
the cutter.
Yeah, I learned that.
Right.
Yeah, I learned
remember
that.
You always tell me that.
I learned that
That's
from
awesome.
Andy after the cutter, but it was because I couldn't get my slider to the back foot no more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it was still moving, so I was like, man, I'm gonna just start it out here and see if I can clip the corner. And I was able to throw it hard, and it was something that I could use effectively, but I couldn't use it all the time. I mean, case in point, in 17 in Cleveland. Like, it worked for four and a third innings. I had 9 strikeouts. But once they start clipping that bitch, they start clipping it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Get me out.
Gosh, seriously. Oh, so, by the way, Sonny, if you got a phone call you got to take, this is R2C2. You can totally do it.
No, bro. I should have put that on Do Not Disturb or something.
No, it's all good,
that's
man.
definitely going to come up on the pod.
Yeah, man. That's the point of the pod. Is it's very. We have crying babies. We have intermittent calls. It's all good. Oh well,
you're trying to order dinner. Well, for the national championship game is coming on.
Yeah.
That's right. Hey, well, go ahead. Do you want to tell them your food order, and then we can continue? I don't want you to lose out on the food order.
We can do 2 things at one time.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. All right, so okay, we can. So, Sonny, what are you going to order? We'll order it together. What's on the docket?
I think for a football game, you got to go wings.
Yeah,
I think you got to go some type of wings.
I
don't think we'll set up the pizza.
It's Tennessee
just for tonight. I think. Yeah,
it's got to be a place, pizza place in Tennessee.
Yeah, there's good pizza. There's good.
Bro, everybody from New York thinks that there's no good pizza places outside of New York. Now, I will say New York has the best pizza. I will say that now.
You've been converted.
They do have the best pizza, but there are other places on the planet that have good pizza, Cass.
I don't like the super thick crust pizza, so New York is known for like little small.
Thinner. Yeah.
But remember, I used to like the deep dish Detroit, like the shit we used to get in Detroit. I used to love that shit. Eating it with a fucking fork and a knife, the shit was terrible.
We be at the towns and then CC just gets the thickest pizza you could possibly get. And it's like, man.
Hey,
someone in backdoor sliders and cutters up and in.
Did you place your order, Sonny? We want to give you that chance, man.
Yeah. I did. I'm good.
Who you got tonight, by the way?
Bro, I went to the SEC championship game, Georgia, Alabama, and I had a Georgia shirt on. So I was like, clearly I was rooting for Georgia. And they just got blown out, man. They got blown out. I'm rooting for Georgia because I claim a Georgia football. Like I claim Georgia football, but I don't know. I mean, so I say Georgia, but not very confidently.
I don't see them getting blown out again, though, bro.
Like, I don't think they get blown out.
Nah. I mean, I think it's going to be a close. It's a better game. But I just don't see anybody beating Alabama in this type of scenario. It just never happens. You know what I'm saying?
It never happens,
I don't know.
It never happens.
I thought you were going to... I thought you were going to pull a C and say, I was rooting for this team, but then they got blown out. So now I'm rooting for the other team.
Yeah. I had them both covered just in case.
Oh, my gosh.
Speaking of flip-flopping right quick, did you see my guy Klay Thompson last night? Like, I'm back with the Warrior shit. I'm putting my Warrior shit back on.
You're back with him. He left my Nets.
I saw
He's with the Warriors now. He's back with them, man.
Bro.
Oh, my God.
He said it was one of the best nights of his career.
Man, he looked great.
He did, and you feel good for him. He's such a likable guy. Oh my gosh. And obviously an incredible player. They're tough, man. I'll be very surprised if they're not in the finals. They are tough and deep and versatile, and the way they move the ball. It's just, we had Zach Lowe on, who's to me one of the best NBA insiders there is. If you guys missed that episode last week, R2C2, and he was just talking about like the way they move the ball, like their system is just totally different than any other system. And I said, that's how I feel watching them, like sitting courtside broadcasting their games. Like you watch the way they move and you're just like, this is totally different than any other NBA team. It's beautiful to watch, man. It really is. So, We'll see. All right, pitch selection nerding out. All right, this is one thing I want to ask you guys. You're a righty, Sonny. You're a lefty. See, when you talk about like, oh, I learned the cutter from Andy. That's lefty, right? Can lefties and righties teach each other like pitches? Can you guys actually help each other mechanically with pitch specifics? How does that work? That relationship?
I'll let you answer that.
I would say yes, but it's always going to be different as far as like a lefty's always, not always, but a lefty, you see lefties throwing cutters up and into righties more often. And then it matches with the changeup. I think that's kind of like the progression that left-handers have, and if you can master it or not. Righties, you don't see as much. Righties are predominantly, if you think about it in the league, they just spin the ball more, or they have movement on their heaters. You don't really see a righty just living on cutter's glove side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's possible, but you just don't see it as much. And I think it has to do with righties or right-handed hitters are able to stay on the ball down and away a little bit easier than left-handed hitters. And I don't know why, but probably just maybe just because that's just how they've grown up their whole life without really knowing. So lefties do that. So righties, you can do the same thing to a hitter, but with different pitches, if that makes sense. So I can watch C throw cutters into righties and watch cutters get jammed, and then I can manipulate the ball and have it do the same thing, but not necessarily be a cutter, but be a two seam. So I can have the same pitch design or the same pitch shape, or however you want to call it, with a right-handed hitter that he does. If he's jamming a righty in with his cutter, then I could try to go there with a two seam in and then create that angle that way. Whereas lefties, he creates the angle that way, but he does it with a cutter and a changeup, and I can do it with a two seam and a slider. So you're still working that diagonal line away. But you just don't see as many righties throwing the ball up and into left. I mean, you take that back. You want to live up and into left-handed hitters as a righty, but you don't see living with cutters. Cutters and changeups is not really a right-handed pitching thing. I don't know why. It's just a very small amount of people that do it.
And you don't face a lot of lefties anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you wouldn't even really need that arsenal. So, I mean, and I think, like you said, lefties just naturally like down and in is their spot. Where righties, like, they want the ball out over the plate. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just
why is that? It's so weird, but it's a weird true, thing.
Even for me, like if I'm taking BP, like when I like if you tell me where to throw the ball, I want that shit like at my knee. Like, just throw the ball at my knee, and I'll be able to clear and like hit it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a weird spot that, like, as a lefty you want, because I feel like I can't get to a ball down and away. As a left-handed hitter, it's the weirdest thing.
You think that's because growing up when they're little, first base is first base. You got to run to first base. So righties are like reaching out over because they're on the way to first base.
And we're just like yanking like this. Yeah.
Maybe that makes sense.
I don't know.
And like, I just never felt comfortable like hitting the ball to left field. I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing. Like what Soto does, like I don't understand how he does that.
He does that, bro.
Like he hits balls.
He is stud.
Yeah, he hits balls to left field like a right-hander would hit it. Like it's the weirdest. Him. Really?
But it's a hawk because it is. You better be ready, or that dude because he gonna embarrass you. I don't know how he does it.
It's the pitch recognition. He knows. Like he's almost like Gardy with the strike zone. Like where he knows out of your hand if the ball's he's really good with the strike zone. I feel like Soto's like that.
I feel like to me Soto's the best hitter in the league. Like for me. Face.
He's scariest hitter to face in the league?
I wouldn't use scary, I would use fun. For me now. Like I would just use fun because it's like he gonna give you that little thing and he gonna match your intensity. And I like that. I like somebody that's gonna match your intensity. So I would say fun. I think I walked him. I think he grounded out. I think we got some 3. This is last year. He's fun hitter to face for sure. But he knows right, like Steve was saying, right when the ball leaves your hand. If it's a ball, he already like gives up on it. I don't know how he does that.
So how about Sonny? Your top 3 guys you love to face. within this context, like the challenge of it, right? Because you're talking about Soto being the best hitter, you go up against, but you're talking about it as something you like doing, right? So
it's fun.
Yeah. So who would be those top three?
I like facing Soto, but he's real good. I like facing Baez, and he could probably say something to me about this, but I just loved it because it matched up so well for me, and I struck him out a whole bunch. Like I said, he might get mad, but he might clip me, and he can bring this back, and that's fine, and I'm fine with that. But always like facing him, and I don't know who else. Let me think of somebody else. I gotta go. I like facing the Cubs in general. I like Rizzo because Rizzo one time, dude, I'm up there. We get in a brawl or whatever with the Cubs. Probably, I don't remember what happened, but something.
Oh,
happened,
y'all brawled every fucking time. Like it's
bro, like a couple years ago, I was just thinking in my head, I was like, Amir probably did something, but
Amir Garrett is C's guy.
He is stud though. I talked to CC a lot about it. I mean, we called and we would talk a lot. I would text you during the season and Amir, because Amir he's a good friend of mine, and I would call C, and he loves C, and we would get linked up a handful of times.
Absolutely.
But Rizzo he came out and because he's standing right on top of the plate, so that's a fun at bat because I like to throw the ball into lefties like. And then he came out, we're fighting and everything. He comes out to me and he's like, "Hey, son, please hit me. Please hit me." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, bro, please hit me. Please hit me. It's been like 3 weeks since I've been hit. Please hit me. In my head, I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. Because we had some back and forth. We had some back and forth in 2020 with the no fan season. So he's like, please. I'm like, so I like facing him.
Did you hit him after?
No, I didn't face him. I didn't face him. I didn't face him. But then
by the way, here's the receipts on Baez. 17 at bats, 11 strikeouts.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry,
bro,
Javi.
It was like I remember one time I knew I had him, and it was like it was something. And he's up there, nobody on, 2 outs. We're nobody on, 2 outs in like the 5th inning, and first pitch he's trying to drag bunt, and I'm like, you are done. Like, you got no chance.
No, but if he did that and you were C, you'd start screaming at him as he went to do it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about this, but I was sitting in the bullpen in New York one time. We talked about the Tampa Bay thing when something happened when we was in Tampa, and I might have said this, but Mike Harkey's in the dugout in the bullpen, and he looks at me and he's like, "Hey, you better start getting ready. You better start getting ready." Because I think he was like 1 inning away from like a $500,000 bonus or something like that.
Yes.
And I'm like, and he's thrown like 4 innings and he's thrown like 43 pitches. And I'm like, all right, he's going back out for the 5th, do our thing. And something happens, and Mike, and he's like, he's 5 innings, and Harky's like, you bigger. I'm like, no, he's gonna finish this inning. He's about to get $500,000. And he's like, nah, he ain't. So first pitch of the inning, he hits the dude in the leg and starts pointing at the dugout. He gets thrown out of the game and everything. I'm just sitting there like, oh my goodness. Like, I'm running my little butt into the mound. Like, I'm like, well, all right.
That's still one of my most embarrassing moments, because I swear to God, like I don't know what I was thinking at that time. The first thing I did, I got to my phone and I text Amber. I was like, was that too much? She was like, you fucking think? Like
we've never heard the post beaning text message part of this before.
It wasn't fine until J Hap came in. He was like, dude. And I was like, what? I thought everybody was going to be mad at me because Sonny had to run in. And he was like, that was the coolest thing I ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh, okay.
It was.
It was kind of well, first of all, it's the reason why our group chat, Sonny, is called That's For You, Bitch. Because
that's the name of our group chat.
Because that's what C pointed at the Rays dugout and said. And it's honestly like, it's the thing of legends, like that's when people think about UC and your career, like a few things are going to stand out, right? The way you dominated the 2009 playoffs, going to a championship, what you did in Milwaukee on 3 days rest in '08, right? And obviously, I have to think about what specifically in Cleveland, but the Cy Young year probably we'd say. And then that moment against the Rays and the fact that you were like, you had no idea if you were going to get that parachute of $500,000 or not. If you went ahead and did this and you said, okay, well, you know what? Regardless of whether I am or I'm not, boom, I'm doing what I got to do to protect Austin Romine.
Nah, that was more about the squad, man. That was more about the team.
One of the many reasons why he's loved so much by his teammates, though, for sure.
Appreciate that.
One of the many.
Amen. How about this? Sticking with the pitching, specifics, guys. Well, I guess you know what. See, let me first ask you. I don't know if I've ever framed it to you that way. Who would be the top 3 hitters in your career who you love to face?
Man, Joe Mauer. I love to face Joe Mauer. I really like to face Torrey Hunter when he was like in his prime, like some of the battles that we had. And you know who else? Adam Jones. I love to face Adam Jones.
Oh, your guy, man.
Because it was always a chance that he could, take me deep, have a big hit, but there was a chance that I could get him out. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the guy that I faced the most in my career too. And we just had some good battles in that way.
I think he hit 5 or 6 homers against you. Was that?
Yeah,
is that right?
He hit a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. He hit a lot. I like the biggest hit I remember him getting off of me was like a triple. He hit my very first start as a Yankee. Like knocked me out of game. I think the bases loaded. It was opening day in Baltimore.
Yards.
Yeah. So like I never forgot that. So like every time I faced him, I was always thinking about that fucking, you know what I'm saying? That hit he got to knock me out of that game.
Yeah. He 5 homers, 92 at bats. It's a lot of appearances against him. All right, Sonny, how about this? Like we talk a lot about kind of the comfort with different pitches, right? And how it can ebb and flow at different moments in time. Do you ever, like when it comes to pitch selection and what you feel better about, is it a game to game thing, or are there times where, you'll go a month and you're like, I don't want to throw this pitch. Like this does not feel right. Like how long can a stretch be with you feeling uncomfortable with something that's a primary part of your arsenal?
That's real. If you don't feel comfortable, like you just hold the ball or you just hold this one pitch and you're just like, this pitch just don't feel right. Just don't feel right. Just don't feel right. And I would say like for me, like what I've learned is when it don't feel right, don't throw it. But that's real. And there are also times you can spend all this time going over a game plan or doing this or doing that. And like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And you get out there in the bullpen and like you're working through something. You're like, oh, change of course. This is not what I'm going to do. I'm doing something completely opposite. Because that's another thing I've learned is like, bro, I'm like, I ain't throwing that pitch. I'll talk about it for 4 days. Like I'm going to throw this pitch at this. This is what I'm going to do to this. This is what I'm going to do. And then you just don't do it. You just don't have it. And then it's just like adjusting the fly. And that's, but that's something that's another thing that I kind of learned was like, go to your strengths and your strengths might be different that particular day. But just always pitch to like for me, like always pitch to my strengths. Don't worry about, if my strength matches up with this other guy's strength, just be a little bit better with your strength than he is. And then throw pitches to offset or reset. But there are times when I think there are some times last year when it was, if you lose a slider, like I'm like, I don't have my slider. I just don't have it. And that actually happened a little bit last year. So then I actually started just mid-game one time and then working on just developing like a little cutter thing, something that I can control that's moving away from them. And then one day, just one day, I've got a grip of the slider and I throw one and I'm like, mid-game, I'm like, oh, that was it. And I get in between innings and I run up to the clubhouse and I run up to the videos and to the people doing on computers. And I run up, I'm like, how much did that move? What did that look like? That was it. And I'm like, I thought that was it. I thought that. So then I run back down. I'm like, all right, just do that. So if you're going to throw it, just whatever that felt like, do it again. And that's probably some of my favorite times playing baseball and pitching. Is like the stuff that you can like go through and go through in between innings is like, I mean, you see like the quarterbacks on football, you see them like sit on with their little, I don't know what they use, like Windows or something.
Yeah, it's like a Surface, bro. Yeah.
Tablet. I'd be lost on that thing, but they like using that. Like that's what you do for baseball too. Now it's like you can sit down because you get them iPads in the dugout now, and they get like live feed, like not live, but so if you pitch the top of the fourth inning, the bottom of the fourth inning, as soon as the first pitch is thrown, your top of the fourth inning is uploaded, so you can literally sit there and watch every pitch you just threw in the previous inning.
Wow.
Which is which you never had that, but now you do. So you can sit there and watch all the pitches. You can look up like its movement patterns and like what everything that was going on. You can sit there and watch it, and you can also like do other. That's some of my favorite things to do is in between, like making a small little adjustments.
What about losing pitches? You ever like lose pitches during the game and then like have to make an adjustment? Because that was always my biggest thing is like if I threw a lot of changeups by the fourth or fifth inning, changeup's gonna be done. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't locate it. There go Gunner.
Right, and then
what's up, man?
Hey, there he is. What's going on?
What's going on?
Can you put it in? You can hear him. You knew he was gonna have to make an appearance at some point.
Absolutely.
That's
Can you hear
right.
him?
Yeah.
Hey,
What's up, buddy?
what's going on?
You can hold it.
Hi.
How are you? Are we
I was
watching?
talking about you playing hockey. I was talking about you playing hockey earlier.
You
What
like
you got for us?
you
Nothing?
like hockey, Gunner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do when you're on the ice?
Score.
All right.
That's
I like it, man. I like it. Very good. Are you watching the football game with Daddy tonight?
Yes.
All right.
Who you
good.
got? Georgia tonight?
Georgia, Alabama.
Georgia, Alabama.
Which one? Georgia, Alabama.
Georgia.
There we
All
go.
right. Good, man. Good. I
Right.
like it, Gunner. Hey, you make sure Dad has the right songs on the way to hockey, okay? It's
I
very
was telling him,
important.
what's your favorite song?
Okay.
What's your favorite song?
Industry, baby.
Can you sing a little bit of it? You don't have to.
No.
Bye, Gunner. Oh, that's great, man. Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. I love that he already has like his routine going to the game too.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like
Ready to go.
form it early, man. You form it early. Oh, see, you were talking about losing pitches though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you were
No, I
afraid,
was
like you
saying-
say, if you throw changeups for the first few innings.
Yeah, like early in the game, if I threw a lot of changeups, like fourth or fifth inning, my changeup, like I couldn't locate it late in the game. You ever had that problem with like if you get happy with something early in the game, like trying to go to it late?
Yeah, and then they would always, and then they as coaches and whatnot would always say, don't forget, throw it in the warm up, go out there and click it in warm up, go there and click one. Because it's all about, if you lose it, for me, it's all about being able to just click, like I said with that slider, it's all about just being able to click one. Just once you click one, and then it just like kind of happens. And then there are also some pitches, like for me, my curveball, they would also say like, that's a pitch like you got to keep throwing it. Like even if you lose it and you don't have it, you don't abandon it. Don't give up on it because you need like keep throwing it. You need to keep throwing it because you'll feel it. You'll feel it. It'll come back.
So in between innings, your pitches, the amount of pitches you would always throw different pitches in between innings. Like I threw the same routine for 19 years, guys.
Yeah, and then you threw 21 pitches pregame.
Exactly.
I would. When things were going well, I would just do my same thing. I'd go out there and I'll do the exact same thing. I would do the exact same thing. But now for me, there are times where it would be like, okay, I need to go out there. I'm going to throw an extra curveball just to try and feel one. I'm going to throw one. If I keep losing it up, if I keep losing high, I need to bounce one. Go in and warm up and bounce one. So now that was where we did different that way. Like I didn't do the same exact thing every time. But that's what I would tell everybody. I was like, that's my routine. It's not having a routine.
That's what Larry used to say. Hey, go out there and just throw your changeup in between. I'm like, Larry, I'm not gonna throw. Like I throw the same fucking pitches every time. 2 fastballs, 2 curveballs, 2 fastballs. That's it. Like whatever I have is what I have, guys. Like
that's
I'm
it.
not
You did
going
your
to throw
whole
it.
career. Your
My
whole
whole
career. That's all you were doing when you're warming up in the mound in between innings.
And I never, like at the end of my career, I didn't even throw a curveball, cuz I threw a slider. You know what I'm saying? But I was throw a curveball in between innings, guys. Just
hold on a second.
Yes.
Hold on a second.
Throw a curveball.
At the end of your career,
I did not throw a curveball.
You did not have a curveball as part of your repertoire,
No.
but you would still throw it
In between
on the
innings.
mound in between innings as part of your routine because of your superstition.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's wild.
That's unbelievable, man. That's
it is.
unbelievable, man.
It is.
That's unbelievable. Oh my gosh. That's
Yep.
crazy.
It's kind of
That
stupid,
is-
but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's the first thing
crazy.
I said in my head. I was like, he just said two curveballs. I don't remember him throwing curveballs, but I'm just going to roll with it.
Oh my gosh.
Two curveballs, yeah. Yeah.
That is actually, you know what? It's dedication, man. It's dedication to whatever you got to do up here, man.
Right.
We all got to do some weird shit up here sometimes to get right, you know?
You have to.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's like another thing that proves it was like if you get it fixed up here, then everything else is gravy. Like you're gonna be all right physically. Like everybody's. That's why it was. I mean, that's
Well, and that's why
good.
your sport is so hard, man. It's
Yeah.
like it's also why I think there's a variety of reasons, obviously, that your sport's hard, that any sport's hard, but like it's also why golf's so hard, right? Because you got so much time to process things. It's like if you're in a place where you have expectations, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is a scary place to be on a golf course, man, because it could go wrong real quick.
Golfing and pitching is the same thing, bro.
Bro,
It's literally
it
the
is the
same
same thing.
thing. So I will not let myself go there golfing because it's the same thought process. It's like one pitch at a time, one swing at a time. Like it's always on to the next. Like, and you always tweaking, adjusting little shit. Like it is so much pitching that it's ridiculous. So if you let yourself go there as like a pitcher golfing, you have a fucked up day on the golf course. I won't let myself go there, bro. Sonny's really good at golf, so I'm sure he's had some bad days at the golf course. Like, I won't even let myself go there, bro.
You're walking off on the fifth hole if it happens?
No, I'm just going to go keep playing. I bring 2 boxes of balls, and I'm fucking hit the balls all over the place. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, Steven always texts me. He's getting pretty good, though. He's getting good.
Oh, yeah, man.
He's getting a lot better.
I'll tell
trying,
you,
man. I'm trying.
I've never seen someone embrace a 2-iron the way that this man does. I think you use that. Well, you can hit it, 280 yards. So it's like, why not?
Man.
Yeah, might as well keep that one out. Sonny, what's your handicap, man?
2.5 currently. I actually got the email yesterday. I was looking at it.
Yeah, he's ridiculous, guys.
You're disgusting. You know that?
It's fun. We had a good group going this year. We would go play in the mornings on the road, and we had a good little game that kind of just kept on the whole year. And we would always go play. And we had a threesome, foursome that would always go play. We had 2 versus 2, and we play a match, 18-hole match. And the losers, we would always gamble on this, but we came up. It was more fun for us to wager a shirt. So the losing team had to buy the winning team a shirt. So all these places that we went, all these places, like the losers, like, all right, and they'd be 17th, 18th hole, like, oh yeah, I wear a large. Y'all forget I wear a large. So you got to go, you lose, and then you got to go into the clubhouse and you got to buy a shirt for the team you lost to, and then sure enough, you go back to the locker room, or you go back to the hotel, and then you get on the bus or you get in the Uber for the game or for the field, and they got the damn shirts on, and you're just like sitting there, and they're like, damn, like they wearing them shirts to the field, so then you gotta just sit there and wear on that long more. It was fun. It was a good way to do it, I thought.
That's dope.
Man, that's so great, Sonny. I feel like we could talk to you forever, man. But you've already given us a ton of time, and I know you have some wings to eat. You got some football to watch, man. But maybe at some point during the season we'll be able to do one of these in person again, and get back together. When you guys, I mean, do you face the Yankees this year or just the Mets?
I don't know. I know for sure we play the Mets.
Yeah.
No, we got to do that. We got to do the spring training thing again, man.
Yeah,
we
do.
Yeah.
You come out to Arizona?
Play some golf. Yeah.
You are going to come there, or?
You know what's funny?
We're coming out there. Spring training will be in Arizona.
We got to do a nice little run out there. I feel like I might even have an NBA game out there at some point.
I'm sure it's going to be around
this year.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
in New York, July 12th. We have an off day in New York too. 13th and 14th.
Nice
3-night games against the Yankees right before All-Star break.
You can come play Alpine, bro. Let's do it.
I know. I want to. That'd be warm weather.
Yeah.
Make it happen, man. Let's do it. We'll have to get you back on as a top 3 all-time R2C2 guest in person, man.
That's big for me. That's a boost for me. I'm gonna go ahead and be all jacked up for this football game.
Hey, man, there we go. Sonny, you are the best. You're so honest and interesting and insightful and just, an all-around great dude. And we love having you, man. So thank you so much for coming on the pod again. We so appreciate it.
No problem, fellas. Y'all have a great night.
Appreciate you,
too, Sonny.